Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue forward here, this match being brought to you live on twitch.tv/Nathanias. Throw a sub to your Twitcher. We are loaded in the bottom left for our next series. We have we're jumping in actually to game 3. I should clarify, it's game 3. Guys, this is game 3. This is game 3. This is the final map of this series. We have jumped in. The tournament is being played live. I just finished casting the match that Pult was in. And now they're like, hey, do you want to come and cast the final map of this best of 3? So just so you all know, this is game 3. This is game 3. This is game 3. In the bottom left, tied 1-1, it is Namshar. And in the top right, we have the red Protoss player. He is parting. He's going to go a little probe scout with his gateway on the bottom, making sure nothing weird is going down. Possibly trying to do some sort of fake out meme cannon rush. Goodness knows. Golly gee willikers, Batman. But yeah, just to clarify, it's game 3. We have jumped into a live series. I know someone's going to be upset when they're like, where's game 2 after this one's over? But this one is going to decide who moves on. You are watching the ESL Pro Tour American Open, I guess is how I'm going to call it. It's a weekly cups. I believe all you need is to be masters or higher. I'm not even sure if that's a requirement, but if you want to play, they run these for Korea, Europe, and America every week. It's a part of the new StarCraft 2 esports program. So instead of having a WCS challenger with a, hastily run qualifier and all of that, they're going to be running these every single weekend, I think, for the next 3 years. How cool is that? Serious? I said frickin', I don't know. Anyway, it's a force of habit. They're like, don't swear. And I'm like, I'm not. I just can't not press the button when I think about it. Anyway, so much StarCraft, so much content, and it's a pleasure of mine to be able to bring it to you. I hope that you are all enjoying the stream quality, the game quality. This probe does die. Trying to prevent a third base, or at least see it go up. You never know. Zerg could fake you out. I'm sure that this wouldn't be the first time that a Zerg player was like, yeah, I'm taking the third, bro. Taking the third, bro. And they didn't take the third, bro. They didn't take the third, Cheddar. So the Adept coming back in. A Lings does slip in for Namshar. He sees the Twilight. Gets to see the Robo. These are great things to know about.
Our forces are under attack.
Wow, that Artosis announcer. Why doesn't Parting use the announcer of the best StarCraft commentator? That's the real question. Just kidding. Roddy doesn't have one yet. Metabolic boost halfway done. And Twitch chat is telling me that he's going to build the Warren de la Cucaracha. And this is what haunts me, because I'm already thinking back to the Europe Cup that happened earlier today, where Showtime went for this Resonating Glaive Adept build against a Roach Ravager all-in, and he got bopped. Although, to be fair, was it Namshar that he was playing against? No. I think it was Lambo. He marched all his queens across the map. Oh, there it is. There it is. Except there was the Robo was very late for Showtime in that game. Also, that's not what Namshar's doing, because it's World of Resonant Sleeper. So usually Zergs play defensively on this map because it's kind of hard to finish off a Zerg player in a macro game when this map is so big. But Parting taking a page out of I'm gonna say it, when I see a build like this, we're in the NA qualifiers. I'm just gonna say it. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right on back. He's giving me some Neeb vibes. We're gonna have a Prism with a ton of Adepts, just trying to get some crazy-ish done. And if there's one thing that we can say Parting excels in, if we had the little diagram where it's the little diamonds point out further for how high level a skill is, Parting's maxed out the micro skill. If there's one thing he's not going to usually make mistakes on, it's micro. Adepts, you can do a lot of micro with them. Adepts were temporarily made into garbage units after BlizzCon, but they did reset them back to being the fast attack speed beasts that they were always known to be with the Resonating Glaive. So the Lings were trying to hold the Adepts at the top of the ramp so that the Roaches could fight, because Adepts, frankly speaking, not very good versus Roaches. So he's like, all right, kill a drone. Kill second drone. He cancels the shade. He's got another wave of Adepts going into the third base. So all of those Roaches are being built, and what he really wants to do is just Oh, good bait. Yeah, see, if you're not target firing, they're going to shoot the roaches. They're always going to prioritize army units instead of workers unless you manually click. So Namshar loses 12 drones. He's a bit behind now. He has the drones. He has the capacity to spread the drones to more than just the 2 bases. So he can get a little bit more efficient mining off of his fewer drone count that can make up for the discrepancy. But let us not forget that Parting still has the prism, and he is using, in my opinion, one of the coolest warp prism skins. I love this one. I want a lamp that looks like this. Do you know what I'm saying? Can we just... Has anyone else... the branding opportunities here. Like, seriously. So, the roaches can't kill the prism, but they can bully this back to the point where he can then go for a massive counter. Look at this, Namshar. Oh, the disrespect. Pooping on the 3rd base. Forge does finally start. We have Immortals being built by Parting. There was a clip posted. Apparently, in an earlier game in this series, he was juggling 4 Immortals with 2 Warp Prisms. That sounds like the most Parting thing you could possibly come up with. For most other players, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound like it's going to be very cost effective to put all that APM there. For Parting, yeah. Yeah. So he's got an Adept. He slips this one in over on the 3rd base. He's able to get a drone, possibly 2. Oh, no. He softens up 3 drones instead of getting a 2nd kill. The Queen's going to push this Prism back just a little bit. I mean, 1 Queen does not a Prism kill, but it is enough to deter, especially with the roaches there. You can't drop the Adepts into roaches. But the real point of this is there are 23 roaches on the map with roach speed, which means that if Parting had screwed this up, it's kind of crazy to think about, but if Parting had screwed this up, he would have been really, 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 really far behind, because at the very least, he's bought himself enough time to get out. What? We got 3 Immortals, still has the Warp Prism. The Adepts, they don't really matter. The Adepts are not a crucial component of this army because they are not good against roaches or Ravagers for that matter. They are the harass unit. So what I'm really trying to say is, by being able to hold him, using those weak units, using those Adepts to keep Namshar in his base, he's got plenty of time to build up an army that should be able to stop this counter. Will it though? That's what we're about to find out, Jeff, as we have the Ravagers and Roaches coming up on. There is a cannon being supported by those batteries. And with 3 Big Daddy Immortals, I mean, Roaches versus Immortal, it's not even a fair fight, man. You guys think that Terran players go on the Battle.net forums and complain? Dude, you ever seen what Roaches post about Immortals? Have you ever read a Roaches blog? Seriously, the entire thing is, I hate Immortals. Even more than Siege Tanks, if you can believe that. Even more than Siege Tanks. Like, Immortals don't even have to stop to shoot. That's crazy. And then you're like, well, technically they do, but I get what you're saying. Hallucinated Phoenix Scout for Parting. He's just like, oh, okay, there's the Hydra Den. Nice to know about that. Is he going to see the Infestation Pit? I believe he does. That is very important. That is extremely important to know about where the direction of the opponent is. Having some idea of the timing on a hive is very, very, very important, because as a Protoss, you can kind of do a lot army-wise. You can mess around. Like, this is kind of like a ragtag sort of assembly of Protoss units. But if the Zerg goes straight to, like, Broodlords or something, or Lurkers, you need to have a more specific counter available. So the Prism is going to drop these Adepts here due to harass. 2 Adepts here picking off drones over at the 3rd base. Meanwhile, the army was pressuring the 4th. So Namshar brought everything to the 4th. And now, Parting, look at these Adepts. They're doing barely enough damage to kill this hatch, and they do. Got him. 20 drones have died. It's a disaster. And now Parting's going to take his 4th base. Boom, boom. Look at those cannons. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And a shield battery. Hell yeah. Rack them up, rack them up, rack them up. So Namshar's going to rebuild that base. This Prism paid for itself a million times over. Roaches are nice, yes, but especially since Namshar didn't really go crazy on the Queens. Not that you really go crazy on Queens as much versus Zerg or versus Protoss, but in this instance, really didn't have an effective answer for the Prism, which has enabled so much of this harass to happen in the first place. It's really nice when you can just build all your units on your opponent's side of the field. By the way, look at Parting's vision. Just look at this. From the Stalker there, Observer there, Stalker here, Adepts here. He has so much vision across the map to know where the opponent is. And hey, look, that Stalker says, oh, what's going on? Oh, are there roaches and ravagers here? Well, golly gee willikers, Batman. We have to be a little bit more careful about where the opponent's going to be coming from. And that is just another one of those things that just separates Parting from your average StarCraft 2 player. He's very aware of where the enemy units are on the map. And we've got disruptors out on the field now. So 3 disruptors creates infinite potential for cash money plays. And you know what? In order to build disruptors in America, M. Canning owns the rights to disruptors in the United States. Did you guys know that? You legally can't build them without his permission. Every unit these disruptors kill, M. Canning gets $10. Isn't that incredible? So let's see how much money Parting can make for our American champion here. That's what I want to see. He's got a big, beefy army. There's a lot of Ravagers. We got some Hydras. Of course, the Lurkers are where things get tricky. Once the Lurkers get into big numbers, it gets hard because those upgrades, the Hive upgrades for Lurkers, man, those have become such an important tool for Zergs around the world. Getting adaptive talons and the range upgrade, seismic spines. The Lurkers have 10 range. And then once that burrow upgrade completes, they become so hard to stop. Oh, almost flies his prism into that. He says, you know what? I can fight this little force you've got. These 4 Adepts make their way back over to that expansion. He says, I got plenty of Stalkers to kill this, bro. You want to go? You want to mess with me? And all Namshar can really do is just leave his units there to die. He tries a big counterattack here, but with all the photon cannons and those big disruptor hits, Parting has cleared the way. You could say he has parted the sea that is Namshar. Man, got him. Kills the Nexus, excuse me, the hatchery in the bottom right. And he's still got so many units. He's building 2 War Prisms. He already has 1 too. No, never mind, he lost it. He just built 2 because he's that intelligent. He just knew he was going to lose his prism. So we've got Parting with beautiful map control, a massive bank that's starting to build up as he approaches 200 supply. And then Namshar, he only has Hydras. He's got 40 Hydras. Parting, please don't kill your own units with those disruptors. And he's just going to push in on this. There's nothing to support the Hydras. Hydras are glass cannons. This is like mass marine with no medevacs, no mines, no tanks, nothing. And Parting just says, yeah, yeet. GG. I believe he just won this series. We did jump into game 3. So congratulations, Parting. GG.